Have you ever read an official email or a formal document and just thought, wow, that sounds so serious, so professional? Well, today we're going to dive into a grammar trick that can get your own English to that exact same level instantly. All right, take a look at this sentence. You see stuff like this all the time in business communication. It sounds incredibly polite, incredibly professional, right? There's just a certain weight to it. But what exactly is happening here with the grammar? Did you spot it? The word if is completely gone. Normally, we'd say something like, if you have any questions. Well, this little disappearing act is the magic of what we call inverted conditionals. It's a way to build these really formal, really sophisticated sentences without even needing that word if. So what is inversion, really? Well, at its core, it just means we're flipping the usual subject-verb order. So instead of you should, it becomes should you. It seems like such a tiny change, but believe me, it makes a huge difference to the entire tone of your sentence. Okay, so let's get into how this actually works. We're going to break it all down step by step. We'll start by going beyond if, then look at the should rule for the first conditional, the were rule for the second, and the had rule for the third. And to finish off, we'll even master the negative form. By the end of this, you're going to be a pro. First up, let's talk about the first conditional. This is the one we use when we're talking about things in the future that we think are actually possible, things that are pretty likely to happen. Here's a sentence I'm sure you've seen a million times in some terms and conditions document. It's standard, it's correct, it works. But what if we wanted to give it a little upgrade? So you might be thinking, okay, but why even bother? Well, this is actually a really powerful little tool. Using the inversion can make the situation sound a little less likely, which is a very diplomatic and polite thing to do. And of course, it just adds this instant layer of formality, making it perfect for those important requests or official offers. And changing it is super easy. It's just two simple steps. First, you get rid of if and put should at the very beginning. Second, you just take the main verb and change it to its basic infinitive form. So wishes becomes simply wish. That's it. And there you go. Can you hear how much more official and courteous that sounds? It's such a small tweak, but it has a really big impact on the overall feel. It just sounds so much more professional. All right, let's keep building on this and move to the second conditional. Now this is where things get a bit more hypothetical. We're talking about situations that are really unlikely or maybe even completely impossible. Okay, here's a pretty dramatic example for you. Obviously, we're talking about something that's purely imaginary. This is your classic second conditional, right? It sets up a hypothetical idea and its result. Now, the rule here is also very specific, but it's still nice and simple. We're going to replace if with the word were. Then we just add the word to right before the main verb. So, disappeared becomes to disappear. Easy. And just look at the result. Wow. It adds this real sense of gravity and formality to what's already a pretty dramatic statement. This is a really elegant way to phrase a hypothetical idea, something you'll often see in academic or philosophical writing. Oh, and here's a handy little shortcut for you. If your main verb in the if part of the sentence is already were, then the whole thing gets even easier. You just drop if and flip the subject and the verb. So if California were becomes simply were California. Super clean, super efficient. All right, on to our third and final type, the third conditional. We use this one to look back in time and imagine how a past situation could have turned out differently. It's all about those what-if moments. I mean, we've all had those moments, right? Thinking about that one point in time that could have changed everything that came after. This sentence just perfectly captures that feeling of looking back and wondering. And you know what? The rule for this one might just be the simplest of them all. All you do is get rid of if, and then just swap the positions of the subject, in this case we, and the word had. And the result is so powerful. It just sounds more emphatic, more dramatic. This structure is absolutely perfect for storytelling or for any kind of formal writing where you really want to add some punch to a statement about the past. Okay, you've totally nailed the basics. Ready to level up again? Let's take on the negative form. This is where you can really start to show off your grammar skills and add even more nuance to your writing. And what's great here is how simple and consistent the rule is. For all three types of conditionals we've covered, all you have to do is place not directly after the subject. That's it. It's a single, clean rule for every single case. It works every time, whether you're using should you not, were I not, or had I not? So after going through all of that, what's the one thing you absolutely have to remember to start using this in your own English? It all comes down to these three little trigger words. If you want to invert a first conditional, you think should. For a second conditional, you think were. And for a third conditional, it's had. These three words are your keys to unlocking this entire advanced grammar structure. And that's really it. You now have a seriously powerful tool to make your formal emails, academic papers, or professional presentations sound even better. The only question left is, where are you going to try it out first?